Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. So, as the title suggests, is Kat in the right on her decision? Is she in the right? Now, if you watch Beyond the Gates, you know what I'm talking about. We're going to be sitting there talking about all the soaps, as you know. So make sure you do hit the like button as you're coming in. So let's see. GH fan is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Amy is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Blackma, aka Mr. GQ, is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Allison is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Sean is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Dolomedics is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Why you got because I'm testing out a new AI tool, and I figured what better way to sit there and test it out than to test it out on her. Francis is in the chat. How you doing tonight? You're camping right now. Okay, all right, that sounds like fun. Okay, you got to tell us about that. Okay, I'm doing good, Sean. I had the day off, so my day was pretty good. Hope you had a good day as well. Anthony, the number one YouTuber, how are you doing tonight? I'm still trying to work out the bugs. Well, not the bugs in it, but I'm still trying to work out how to operate it. Susan is in the chat. How you doing tonight? I hope you're well. I hope you also had a good birthday. I know it was like a week or so ago, but still. Good, Allison. I had the day off, so I cannot complain. I am drinking something mango, but it's not alcoholic though. So I'll save that for the weekend. I'm in Tennessee right now. I went to Dollywood today. Do you know what that is? No, I don't. I don't know what that is. Hmm. Where's my music at? Well, listen, Gomex, when you have the day off, it is a great, 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 amazing feeling. Um, not having to have your body be jolted waking up. Oh, okay. I knew it was something. I knew it was something Dolly Parton theme, but now Monique says yes, she is in the right. She wants to save her sister, but she has to think about her health as well. Queen of the South, how are you doing tonight? No, she's not evil, but I really like the image that I made, so I decided to keep it. Susan says thanks. It was a busy weekend, but I managed to stop. And the members, thank you, thank you. Yeah, no, it was really good to see you as always. Um, I know I was drinking, so I do remember you being there. Remember that. But I was also drinking though. We good. We good now. Just gotta get my music on, and we'll be good. Uh, 1 second, Princess. There we go. I understand Kat being concerned about the rest, but she won't even get tested to see if she's a match. I'm liking Leslie now. It is. I'm not gonna lie. It is. It is pretty crazy. Those are good close here, and Jonathan. Thank you, Susan. Yes, yes. Jonathan is the goat. Um, Burke English was actually pretty fun to watch. So hopefully, it will sit there and come through next Saturday, so we can sit there and do part two. And that was fun. Yeah, it was fun. So yeah, thank you, Susan. It was a lot of fun putting that together. Always have a good time in the member circle for so many obvious reasons. So I'm glad you're able to be a part of that. Darby, what's good, Darby? What's good, Darby? Yes. So I'm glad you was able to be there. Thank you, Susan. You know, Jonathan's my right hand man when it comes towards that stuff. So would you do maybe. Maybe Darby, I wouldn't mind. G stuff is a little harder to do, but if I'm able to work around it, then yeah, absolutely we can do that. Absolutely, Darby. One time, me and my aunt drove from Chicago to Atlanta for some red glass. Oh, to gamble. Okay, all right. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. You know, my whole thing is like, okay, my issue, and obviously we'll talk about all the soaps. My issue with Kat is not the health concern because I can understand the health concern, but she didn't just say that she was hesitant because of her health. Okay, she said that she was also hesitant because of their history. Um, she literally sat there and brung up the fact that like they have history, and why should she sit there and forget about all this stuff that her and her mother did? So it's yeah, yeah. And I feel like that's going to be a problem for her. I'm so glad that you brought that up. What's good, Ron? 1 second. Um, it is offensive and it's pretty stupid. Okay, it is offensive and it is stupid. Um, and it's also just like we're doing this again. First we kidnapped Jack. This is almost even worse. I would sit there and say. Um, this is almost even worse. I mean, you know, Patty sexually assaulted Jack, and Diane is sitting there acting like Jack is the bad guy, right? And now they're gaslighting Diane to sit there and think that she has some sort of mental breakdown or some shit like that. I'm like, what are we doing? What's good, Double C? What are we doing at this point? It's so goddamn bad. It is so bad. Um, we're just talking about the soaps, particularly Y&R, you know. And now Jack is like, oh, I got to sit there and be with her to in order to get back, Diane. And I'm like, wait, what? It's really sad to see how subservient Brooklyn has become in her marriage. I 100% agree with Tracy today. You know, I did too. I did too. And I said that in my review. I said that in my review. I was like, Tracy was 100% right. And unfortunately, you have millennials that are so soft and so fragile with their feelings that she couldn't even tell that, like, yo, Tracy's actually on your side. Um, so listen, take a look at this real quick. And, y'all can take a look at this as well, obviously. So that's Cat Lady, our Cat Lady or whatever. That's her GH clip. Right there is GH. So every time you have that, you're gonna have problems. Um, this is why I always sit there. This is why I generally sometimes tend to stay away from like doing GH stuff because of this right there, right there. So even though she does do it, which is cool, you know, it's like you got to be really careful because they will get your ass. What's good, Ron? Yeah, I was just gonna get back to your comment. You think that Ron and Marina are way too comfortable? I understand? No, they're friends. They're friends. I think if Kate actually has a problem, then that's her problem, and they need to talk about it. And she needs to tell him how uncomfortable their friendship and their closeness makes her feel. If she's gonna go that route. What's good, Deluxe? Women can do is make yourself small to accommodate a man. Exactly. Yes. Yes. I like it, but she needs to. That's what I'm sitting there saying. Yes. Oh, nothing happened to her page. Yeah, no, nothing happened to her page, but she posts like small GH clips. And then right under the bottom, like GH will sit there and tag you. And you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I've done GH content live streams and have my whole live stream like shut down because of that. So we're just like, she needs to be careful of when she uses G's content because, like, you know, it doesn't end well. I didn't really care for it. Also, it seems like Kat doesn't listen. She just does whatever she wants, regardless of whatever Ray tells her to not do. She'll do it anyway and be like, "Oops, whoopsie daisy, I'm sorry, my bad." Like, really? That's what we're doing now. So that's my thoughts. It's just more the same of like Rafe Smith there telling her not to do something, and her Smith there at this point saying I'll do whatever the hell I want. That's my thoughts on it. I am. I actually am. You're 100% correct, Allison. I am part of that his poor excuse for a generation. Okay? I am. I don't agree. I couldn't let my wife be too close to her ex-husband. One second, Francis. Oh yes, yes. I didn't know when the date was, but I did knew about that, Francis. I hope the other actress is okay and hope she feels better. I don't agree, Albert. I couldn't let my wife be too close to her ex-husband to the point of emotional cheating. Like, well, okay, well, first of all, I disagree with the emotional cheating because give me an example of when if Roman and Marlena ever emotionally cheated on Kate. Tell me that. And you can be fine to an extent, but like, what are you talking about? When when did when did um when did Roman emotionally cheat on Kate? I'm a Gen X. We don't give an F and never will. Chase has some balls. He arrested his mother-in-law and still feels free to swing. And um, well, yeah, if it's his job to sit there and arrest his mother-in-law, then absolutely. Now, I will sit there and also agree with Dante. Hey, listen, there was a better way you could have handled it. You could have de-escalated the situation. You didn't have to simply arrest her. But hey, he did what he did. He arrested her. And what did Tracy do? Tracy decided to do what she usually does: act like an entitled old white woman with money that feels like she's better than other people. And you know what I liked? You know what I liked? Why I enjoyed what Willow did to Tracy? Because years ago, Tracy did the exact same thing to Courtney, goaded her to hit her. And the minute that she did, she was all threatening the cops and this, that, and the third. So I found it very, very satisfying to watch Willow do the exact same thing to Tracy. You know, Tracy, who thinks that she is the smartest person in the room. And yet, she still got outplayed and outmaneuvered by Willow. How sad. You think Kate should have to. What's good, Eagle? With the closeness of Roman and Melina, they didn't physically cheat, but you have to admit they are a bit too close. Roman. Well, I still don't understand. Okay, but you said that he was emotionally cheated, right? So, but you haven't given an example. Listen, I'm not trying to be a dick, Darby. Your feelings are your feelings, and your opinion is your opinion. But what I'm exactly, Allison. So, um, I don't. I guess we can. I guess we can agree to disagree. I don't feel like they're personally too close. They have history, and they also share kids, or at least a son or something like that. So, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. Anyway, like I said, I will sit there and say I agreed with Tracy today, but you know, the thing is, I just don't see it. Like, okay, like for me, I would sit there and say who was too close was when Jordan and Curtis was hanging out when Curtis was still married to Portia. I felt like those two was too close. You know, he would always go to her to sit there and vent about his issues with Portia and everything like that. Like I felt like that was too close. You know, um, but yeah, like I said, Tracy just comes across as an entitled woman with money. She is somebody who I do not like. Actually, Marlena, Roman, John, and Kate had a little bit of an awkward quarrel years ago. Ah, okay. That's actually a really good point. I never sat there and I looked at that. No, it's all good, Dolomitics. I never looked at that. It could be. Part of me was good, Jay Blue. Part of me does sit there and look at that, and I think like you need to like hope these to be grateful that she still has a job, right? I don't think that like she understands like, oh, when is my line gonna be ready? When am I gonna sit there and do my line? When is my line gonna be ready? I'm like, girl, you're lucky you should act. You're lucky that you have a job after the takeover. Which again, I think that was more on Carter, but I don't care for Curtis. He's as bad as his BFF Drew. What's good, Amber? If you're doing a soap opera draft, what would your top five? Oh, that's a good one. Hmm. I had to think about that. That's a good one. I would sit there and say Adam from Wine Arm. I would sit there and say Bill from Beyond the Gates. You know what? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I gotta sit there and think about that. Gotta think about that. I remember they jokingly used to call them the Penthouse Four as their soap core name on the blogs. I know that's interesting. Kids actually don't rewrite their history except maybe vets like Tony Gear back in the day. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what you know. What that's exactly what Michael said. Michael was like, "I told you to just step back and let Brooklyn see who Chase really is." And what's good, Jay Blue? How you doing tonight? It's good to see you. I know I'm behind on commenting on Chase, but I literally did a face palm when Chase jumped in the water to save Willow. Um, I think EJ was acting like a child, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I still look at Chad as in Chance from from Young and Restless. I can't see him as Chad. I can only see him as Chase. I mean, as Chance on the Young and the Restless. Maybe I think that in marriage women is like Kate being on, meaning that Kate is always something nice at home. Her behavior is always on her behavior is always on her best behavior. Um, but okay, so here's my thing with Michael. Here's the thing that's kind of annoying me is Kane's. You know that's the thing. Like he kind of is, but I can still see him. I can see him a little bit differently. I can see him a little bit differently. Not that much differently. But I think Chance is actually I think the actor that plays Chance is having a harder time adjusting to Chad than the actor that plays Chad is adjusting to Kane, if that makes sense. Kyrie's Howard's days was no, she was not on today. She was not on today. Um Amy's a interesting character, I would sit there and say. Okay. My thing about Michael is that he keeps telling Jacinda and anybody that will listen to him that he is doing this. He is setting up Willow and Chase for Brooklyn's protection. So it's like I'm doing this where you can sit there and see the truth. No, 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 no. You are doing this because you want to sit there and get revenge on Willow. You're doing this because you want to get Willow away from the kids. Don't try to sit there and try to make sure don't sit there and try to make it seem like you're doing this for, Brooklyn. Like I'm sparing her feelings in the long run. I'm like, no, you're doing this for you. That may be an afterthought, but let's not sit there and try to play it like you still have this like good virtue. Which is, listen, I'm fine with him getting down in the mud, down and dirty, and being a quarterman. But don't sit there and try to pretend like you're doing this for some sort of altruistic reasons, because you're not. If that happens, it's a byproduct. But don't sit there and try to tell your new pretty girlfriend that's what you're doing it for, or this is a good thing. I'm doing this for her. No, 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 no. We're not gonna sit there and try to play those games. Deluxe, this shit has to make sense because I really don't understand how Valentine turning himself in is going to somehow work out where Jocelyn is going to be safe. I'm like, is there a particular reason why you didn't sit there and use Sunny? I got to see Beyond the Gates, but most of the characters I don't connect with. I don't blame you. Amy Choi is a woman I can admire, looks way better than Rita, even though it is a very close call. I just don't like the fact that he keeps trying to make it seem like, oh, come on, I'm being a good family member. I'm looking out for her. Trust me, it's in her best interest that I'm doing this. No, it's in your best interest that you're doing this. Okay? No one, I'm not going to sit there and deny it like, hey, listen, if he goes through with it, he goes through with it. No one sat there and put a gun to his head and said, hey, listen, you need to sit there and cheat on your wife. But you know what you're doing. You know this is going to wind up hurting Brooklyn. Don't try to make it seem like, oh, I'm doing this. Like, no. I mean, yeah, I understand the domino effect of it, Allison. I do, but I'm still just like, and what's good, Spider Quick? 1 second. Um, Valentine telling this head guy is not going to stop. Is not going to stop what you call it. Oh, I'm gonna get to the cat part in a second. Oh shit, where are you, Spike? Great shit. I'll get to you in a second. But yeah, that's how I feel about the whole Michael thing. Cat so wrong. I don't know how people defend her. The only thing give her is being scared of surgery. But nobody asking her to give her liver up. They're just asking for her to get tested. You know, I said this before, and I'm gonna sit there and say this once again um since Kyrie's is here. I understood the medical part. Okay, I understood. Hey, listen, um, she's concerned for her own health risk. I get that part, right? I also get the fact that she doesn't want to get tested because she doesn't even want to get. Um, she doesn't want to sit there and be put more pressure on having surgery because again, health risk. I understand that. And if it was just that, I would have been like, okay, fine, Kat, I understand where you're coming from. But she also sat there and said that I can't sit there and forget what she's done to me. I can't forget what she's done to my family. I can't sit there and just act like that didn't happen. So you're telling me that your sister is on death's door, and instead of sitting there saying, you know what, listen, we can put that shit aside because your life is in danger. Let's get Tracy. Nope, I'm going to sit there and hold on to a grudge. You know, you did me wrong, so now I'm not going to sit there and help you save your life. Wow, Cat. Okay, so you're not going to sit there and treat your fellow man or woman with dignity and kindness. 1 second, Jay fan. With dignity and kindness. So you know what, Cat? Nobody should sit there and treat you with dignity and kindness and respect. Okay? But in all reality, at that point, I was like, Cat, you can go on because you're no longer needed here. You know, you can't do that for your dying sister because you can't sit there and let go. The fact that Ted had to sit there and make her feel better while his other daughter is lying in the hospital on death's door. What the fuck are we doing at this point? Yeah, Sean. Unfortunately. So yeah, that's my whole thoughts on, and I said in my review, but you know, Jace fan says, do you think Michael is knowingly lying when he says that, or do you think he's telling himself this to feel better? I think that he's telling himself, and that he's telling. Oh no, you're fine, Sean. Got to keep that same energy. Okay, and that's true. If that's the case, and that's how you sit there and see it, that's true. But then my whole thing is like actions have consequences. And since she wants to sit there and not treat her sister with that level of compassion and kindness that you should sit there and treat basic humans with, then she doesn't deserve that either. Not in my eyes. She doesn't deserve to sit there and be treated with kindness, respect, empathy, sympathy. She doesn't deserve that. So that's where I stand on that, which is why I put the picture that I put up there. So that's no, but no, Sean, you're fine. You're fine. I was in my little bit of a rant mode, so oh, you asked me a question. Um, I feel like he is telling other people that to not make himself look as bad. That's that's my whole thing. He's not there saying, "Well, I'm doing this. This is also for Brooklyn or whatever." It's like, no, 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 no. Stop trying to make it seem like you're doing this for Brooklyn. You're doing this for yourself. Okay. This may be an unfortunate benefit or side effect, but you're trying to do this way you don't look that bad because you know what you're doing. You're going to screw over your cousin. Okay. So that's what that comes down to. That's the bottom line. Which I say I just don't care about sex scenes. I just don't. Um, no, like I said with Kat, I'm just like I. It's amazing that I see Kat as among the worst characters, among the worst woman characters I've ever seen on a soap opera. And there are three of them. There is Kat, there's Vanessa, and then there's Leslie. And Leslie was the only person in today's episode that I could sit there and say it was refreshing to sit there and see her be human. Well, listen, GH fan, we can agree to disagree on that. Yeah, I'm just not a I just again, just going back to Valentine's plan. So he's gonna turn himself in, he's gonna sit there and get this guy to get this team to come in and take Cullum down. And how is Cullum not gonna sit there and know that he's coming? How does Cullum not know? How does Cullum not know that this new team, when Valentine says something, like he's still going to get a heads up, and he still has an opportunity to sit there and uh, take out Jocelyn. But yet he's not there saying, "Carly, don't get Sonny involved because it's going to get messy." Okay. Here's the whole other thing though. Like the fact that she sat there and said, "Would you forgive me?" Would you want to sit there and hear him say yes, so this where you can feel better about yourself? That's how I took that. Her asking her dad, "Will you forgive me?" is basically there saying, "Okay, good," because I was gonna feel like shit before I went to sleep tonight But because you said that you're going to forgive me, all right, I can sleep like a baby now. Um, that's not even the issue, honestly, to tell you the truth. Because somebody with PTSD should have never been sitting there holding a gun, operating a gun. Okay? That's the issue. It's not even so much. I think it was messed up that Alex put Stephanie on the spot like that. But like Jay Blue says, Valentine plan is very shaky. He's operating on limited information. He just wants to be a hero in Carly's eyes. I, I find his plan just like fucking asinine. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I will sit there and say that for the most part, GH is doing good to some extent. They're more the higher points. Like yeah, GH man, yeah, exactly. Why the fuck did it? Huh, you should do you should do who is Richie Novak. I did. I mean, I can always sit there if I find more material, I can do a part two. But yeah, no, we did a Richie Novak with Billy Miller. It was fun. Um, and we, it's funny. We actually saw a lot of scenes. His sister Annie, who plays Chelsea, she was in it as well. So yeah, we did that. Like I said, the Brooke English stuff was actually pretty fun. Um, people liked it. They want to sit there and do a part two. So I already got this stuff like set up for us to do part two of Brooke English. But yeah, no, Richie Novak we did. But yeah, Monique, if you find somebody else that we didn't do, or I could sit there and do a part two, I'll definitely do it. So yeah, Brooke English from All My Children. Somebody who, if we're gonna be honest, took a lot of sloppy seconds from Erica Kane. Like the men that Erica Kane was with eventually wound up being with Brooke English. Some of them. No. No, I want you to. Watching Stripes. Was that's like Bill Murray and some other people who I don't remember. I just remember Bill Murray being in it. No, she was not the Nina All My Children because she was actually smart, had a brain, and was pretty gutsy. So no. Yeah, let me see if I can pull up a picture of her. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Allison. That's actually pretty true. Um, well, yeah, I mean, she's Erica Kane. I don't, but I'm just now discovering all my children in a sense. So this is what I'm talking about. Brooke English and one Somebody tell me who that person is. Not Brooke English, but you know, this guy. A few years ago, I realized live TV on Prime. I got to see all episodes of GH with Spencer and Trina were pretending to be a couple, and Willow was fighting. Yes, yeah. It's actually pretty interesting. Like they put like the live stuff. Like I've seen a lot of like out of limit stuff. Yeah, but what was his name on the show though? There we go. There we go. There you go, Allison. What's good, Jonathan? Oh, okay, you remember? Okay, you remember him too. Okay, he was. He was. I'm not like I'm not even gonna lie. Like the sad thing is when his character died, he left nothing for Maria because Maria Santos. Um, I'm excited about both days. But yes, Jonathan, I do have the clips. I will definitely be sitting there working on that this week. So I'm excited for the whole weekend. I'm excited for Sunday. I'm excited for Sunday, and you know exactly why. Yeah, that was uh, Eva's ex-husband. Yeah, Jake, we watch a lot of Won't Like to Live as well in the member streams. Yeah, that was his. They were married in real life. Not these two, but like Eva. The hell is her last name? Jonathan. What? Thank you, thank you, GH fan. Yeah, Eva LaRue. Yes, yeah, they were married in real life. Thank you, Allison. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually impressed. Very impressed. GH fan. Very impressed. I think some of y'all actually saw this picture. I figured I'd go with a horror theme, seeing how that will happen to her if she doesn't get a damn transplant. Yeah, take that off. Sean, I'm not gonna lie. This one was actually a lot worse, but I still like it because honestly, to tell you the truth, in my eyes, Eva is a fucking demon. Like that's what she is. A selfish cow. Yeah, you didn't see the thumbnail in the beginning. Yeah, I got a little creative. Might have. No, no, no. I didn't go over the line. I could actually made it a lot worse. That was actually me being king. No, just her being a demon. No, this is just. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I kind of do like how it looks. Thank you, Ellison. Sarah Michelle Gellar portrayed Kendall All My Children made me not watch her and anything else. She was as bratty as Christina in her teen years. Yeah, Kendall was a. I'm not gonna lie. I do like Kendall. Yeah, I can go for that. I can go for that. But anyway, Was Eminem? What about his brother? You'd be happy to know that the actress who plays Sophia on Days is no longer listed as a cast member on Days, so it looks like we have seen the last Sophia. That's interesting. Hmm. I mean, sad thing is, just to be, whatever. I didn't mind Sophia necessarily coming on. I just don't. I just feel like sometimes the Days of Our Lives they don't necessarily always do a good job with with characters who come on the show, right? Like I didn't want her to sit there and play Abby. If they were gonna sit there and do it, she should have played a new character. But like I've seen characters that come on that are good, then they find a way to fuck it up. Like Jeremy was actually fun to watch. I really liked him, but they pretty much let that character go, or whatever. Um, who was the other guy that had dual personalities? Oh, Sophia Choi. Oh, good. Oh, all right, that's good. All right. All right, I actually am happy about that. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Love me some Cruel Intentions, GH fan. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Black Mom. It's funny, actually, I did write her down as a character, but what the fuck? There we go. There. All right. I'm a Janet from another planet. That is correct. All right, but I screenshotted it again. Screenshotted it again. So it would definitely do that, Black Mom. Yeah, no, no, I got it. I got it. She is still coming on the show. Like I said, I hope that I hope they give her a good character. I really do, and they don't find a way to fuck it up. Because Days has been hit and miss this whole week, and it's part of the reason why I decided to review Beyond the Gates. Because like I wonder if the new GH character is Gemma's. Oh, you mean Emma's ex? If it's done right, Jade Willie. If it's done right, right. I don't mind comedy if it's done right. Like Leo Stark is an example of comedy being done so fucking wrong. Look what they did to Doug the 30. Yeah, exactly. Uh, if it's done right. Yeah, and in reality, and like I said, I can respect that. I can respect that. It's just how I look at the character is entirely different. Because yeah, she has the right to sit there and say no or yes or anything like that. I do totally understand that. You know, are you talking about Janet on All My Children? I mean, they need to do something with it. I've gotten to a point where I do my reviews and I'm just like, I barely bother to put any thought into Emma and Gio because they do nothing for me. Oh, Cruel Intentions, okay. No, oddly, they actually wound up doing a show. Well, I mean, they wound up doing two shows. They try to do a show in the '90s, and then they try to do another show on Amazon. I don't, but maybe some people might. Some people might, you know. Absolutely not. No, 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 no. I can't do it. I can't do it. No, 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 no. Listen, that's no shit at all. That's actually a compliment. I like those type of movies. Um, it's like, I mean, here's the thing. I like the first Wild Things movie, besides the famous part, because it actually was a good movie that did actually have a good message in it. Um, then they just started doing like two and three, and I was just like, all right, I thought you would be siding with Kate on her decision not to get tested. I I sided with her because she had health concerns. She was like, hey, listen, I don't know about doing this. I don't know about having people cut me up and stuff like that. I understood that. What I didn't side with was when she was Smith there talking about their history and how she couldn't forget. I'm like, your sister is literally dying in a hospital bed, and you're talking about the history between you and her and how you can't get past that. So you can't sit there and rise above that to sit there and save your sister's life. And you don't have to fucking like her. You can sit there and just be distant with her. But to sit there and not bother to even save her because of your petty grievances, no, I can't let that shit go. That's something I can't let go. You know, like I said, well, I said this before, but I have to sit there and say Brooklyn knows about her ex woman. She just has to take care of her other ex. Now, Susan says on B&B, I was hoping Zenday would go to Logan, but he's a force, right? Yes. Listen, that doesn't stop him that doesn't stop him from going to Fort Logan if he wants to go there. Like if he act like okay, the deal was Kate couldn't sit there and poach Foresters. That does not mean that a Forester can't sit there and go there and say, I'm tired of Forester Creations and all their bullshit. They want to sit there and keep propping up the golden child. Cool. I'm gonna sit there and go over there. Well, no, she said that she wouldn't post it. She didn't sit there and say she wouldn't hire them. She said she wouldn't post it. Like she made that very clear. That's why I had to sit there and be like, yeah. Also, like how they left the ending completely. You know what? I'm not gonna lie, JH fan. I actually have to go. I actually have to go back and I gotta watch that. I gotta actually go back and watch that movie again. So thank you. Yeah, she was like, no, she was like, hey, listen, you can't poach people from my team, and I can't poach people from your team. This is the thing say he couldn't voluntarily go there. Um, shit. Nope, nope. They didn't sit there and say that. Yeah, I mean, technically, no. I got to take that back because they did sit there and say they wouldn't hire a forester. Like, okay, just to avoid the whole. That's a damn good question because I'm pretty sure you're right about that, Susan. Like, she was like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna hire a forester, which was like a trick to basically like since she's a Spencer, so get. Um, so yeah, technically speaking, no, and that's the thing. He wasn't Polish. He wasn't Polish. I think they just want to. I think like ideally they just want to sit there and not go through that situation again. Because like if Zenday did go over there, then Brooke would be like, "Oh well, see, you did it again. You took advantage of him or whatever, right?" Yeah, I mean, yes, and granted, no, she is actually dead wrong. Like Eric did go over there. They didn't lure him to the fucking dark side. Like he went over there voluntarily. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. Like she was Anita on SVU, and Jordan Peele please come out with the next movie. I can't remember. I mean, I like a lot of his horror movies. I don't necessarily. There was a point where I didn't like him. There was a point where I didn't like Jordan Peele, to be honest. And I specifically chose not to watch his movies for a very long time. Um, he had a stance that I didn't agree with, and I still don't agree with. I'm tired of seeing Zende with no story. Me too. Eh, could have been better. I like the other movies, but I am too. It's 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 almost like why even have it's like why even have him on the show if you're not going to really give him anything. You bring him out every now and then, and every single time, all he does is bitch and complain because he has nothing to do. And I can't even be upset with him. I can't even sit there and be like, oh, Zende, all the time. It's just a constant bitch and complain. It's like, well, if you give him a story and you give him stuff to do other than just, and I hate saying this, but other than him just sit there being the angry black man, I would fucking appreciate it. I would appreciate if Zende would do something else other than being the angry black man. And granted, he has a reason for being like that, but like, if you're just going to use him for that, then like, I, the sad thing is that Jay Blue says I haven't seen Jordan Peele's horror movies, but I love Keening and Peele. Um, Dope wasn't exactly. Is it Dope or is it Nope? The third one wasn't the best. I can't even remember his movies now. It's kind of debatable, but I respect your opinion, Sean. I I I can somewhat see where you're coming from. on a certain level. Oh, Get Out and yeah, Get Out and Us is probably the only movies that I would sit there and say J Blue to watch. Um, no, well, Us actually seems kind of impossible, G. Get Out doesn't, but Us, yeah, that's a little bit more sci. Well, they actually did bring Sheila back to that. They actually did bring Sheila back. You know, the sad thing I was going to sit there and say is that even with the problems, even with the minor problems of B&B, it's still better than what they're doing on The Young and the Restless. You might have a point, Juice man. And screen movies are not exactly something to like go out your way to watch. But I mean, like, are you just not a horror person, J Blue, or you just haven't found anything good that you would want to sit there and watch? But yeah, I can still sit there and say that B&B is doing a decent job with this whole like Katie versus Brooke and RJ and you know RJ and Dylan and stuff like that. No, I didn't. I've heard of those movies, J Fin. I didn't watch them, but I heard of them. I'll probably see them when they come out on the streaming service. I like rarely go to the movies to sit there and see stuff. Like if it's not Marvel or DC or a franchise that I've already invested in, I generally won't go and see it in the theaters. Like I saw He-Man and that was fun. Heritage, okay. You know the thing is, Sean. I mean, yeah, Sean. I mean, Monique. You're right, but she gonna like I said, she gonna be more living Monique when she finds out that Hope went to Loki. Could be a combination of both. Could be a combination of both, Jay Blue. I used to sit like I used okay. I used to sit there and watch a lot of comedy movies, and I don't anymore. Like I don't go on my way to watch comedy movies. I don't go on my way to watch comedy shows. Right? Like I'm more into drama now and horror and sci-fi, but I would pick a drama over a comedy any day of the week. I don't know why. I just would. I want to see that too, Allison. What if Zendaya offers to go to Logan and say I'm tired of being burnt? I mean, here's the thing. I can. They do need a designer. They do need a designer, and they need one with experience, right? Because like Deke is good, but he's still new. He's still green, and I don't see Katie turning him down. Hell, I don't even think that Katie is actually in a position to, you know, turn down help. You know, I personally want him to go to Logan, because he keeps me there talking about I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting more frustrated every day that I'm there. I'm getting more frustrated. Yes, have a good night, Sean. I will sit there and see you on Friday. And thank you for coming through as always. Well, that's the idea, Jeez, man. That's the idea. He's just going to sit there and let himself destruct. Um, him and Willow self destruct. Which, listen, I'm fine with. I'm fine with that. You know, just be honest about it. You know, of course, Sean, of course. Yeah. Also, the thing is, Allison, like for me personally, like I don't really watch a lot of stand-up comedy, and I don't watch stand-up comedy because I feel like it's one of those things which like you're expected to laugh, right? So like, unless I know who I'm going to be watching, like either Kevin Hart or Cat Williams or Dave Chappelle, I generally won't sit there and go out my way to watch like stand if I'm in a mood for comedy, which is like ridiculously rare. That's what that's why I do not more comedy for me. Like than too heavy to me reality and fiction are blurry too much. Hmm. So how does that work with soap operas then? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I get that. Trust me, life, it could definitely make you kind of ship things that you may not want to sit there and kind of like watch or whatever. I totally get that. Besides, okay, so even with that, Tony Baker, okay, all right. Jack needs to keep everyone in the house. Needs to keep. Well, yeah, except for he kicked everybody out. Which again, this goddamn show, and I mean shows in general, not just soap operas, but I'm gonna sit there and bring up soap operas since like you know what it is. Beyond the Gates does it too. This, but with Young and Restless, has this way of just emasculating men. You know, Jack literally got sexually assaulted, and now they're doing a story where the assaulter has kidnapped his wife, put her somewhere, and said, "Okay, well, we got to get together, and then I can sit there and tell you about your wife. But we got to also get intimate." So I'm like, what you're basically saying is that they're going to sexually assault this man on a regular basis. And as viewers, we're all supposed to sit there and be cool with it because it's happening to a man. I mean, I like dramas more. And like I said, G friend, I used to sit there and watch like a lot of comedies and stuff like that growing up. But like, I don't know. I think I like getting into other people's drama because sometimes I have my own drama that I don't feel like getting into. People says, "What show is this?" You mean like what show? What soap opera? What show that emasculates men? Or I'm talking right now. I'm talking about the Young and the Restless. I'm talking about the Young and the Restless, where this woman named Patty kid, kidnapped Jack, spiked his drink, had sex with him, and when you're under the influence, you can't consent. His wife Diane came in there, saw the whole thing and said that Jack, you cheated on me, and smacked him in the face. So now you're victim blaming, and this is normal. This is the story that they're going with. It's now she kidnapped Diane, kidnapped his wife or whatever. It's like, well, I'll tell you, but we got to sit there and have a relationship, and eventually you'll sit there and you'll come to me on a sexual level. You'll come to me eventually. No, and watching her like kiss on him and everything like that is like that's assault. That's literally sexual assault. That we're literally sitting there watching, and it's wild to me because I'm like, you know, I feel like they can get away with it because it's a woman's show. It's a woman's fantasy. But women have kids. Women have grandkids, and women have sons. So I don't know what woman is sitting there watching this, co-signing this shit, and being like, "Oh my god, Patty is interesting." Like, I don't. I've seen maybe one person that was like, Diane has a right to feel however she wants to feel, and she has a right to sit there and be upset with Jack. I'm like, well, if Diane got sexually assaulted and Jack sat there and said, oh, well, she cheated on me, how many women will sit there and be upset with that? What? The last two horror movies I watched was Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Thanksgiving. Well, which Texas Chainsaw that you saw? Because like there's the one with Jessica Biel. I think that's her name. There's the one that's before that. I mean, there's a lot. There's the stuff from the 80s or early 90s. And then there's the stuff from the early 2000s. I've seen three Texas Chainsaw Massacres. Three. Like, which one are we talking about? Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like that's the part that blows me. Um, it's a really sick story, and yeah, I'm not feeling it. I find it to be pretty disgusting personally, and I also find it to be offensive if we're going to be honest. But this, you ever just be watching some of these shows and just think that the writers just either not caring or just throwing out something and saying, well, we fully believe this. And you're just like, what's wrong with you people? Like Days of Our Lives have done some very questionable things. Um, and they just seem like they just don't care. You know? I mean, she shouldn't blame her. But I also feel like Hope shouldn't be sitting there asking her mother to sit there and fight her battles. You're a grown ass woman with kids. And you're sitting there asking mommy dearest to sit there and fight for her line and everything. Are you serious? You're a grown ass woman. You should be sitting there fighting your own battles. And that's the thing though, like sometimes I'm just like cherry ice cream. Sometimes I'm just like I don't like I don't understand. And the sad thing is that like sometimes I look at these decisions and I'm just like, is there just are they just Are they just dumb decisions, or is it just not your cup of tea? Like I realized a long time ago, Beyond the Gates, that the show is just not my cup of tea, and they do things in the show that I don't agree with. And I look at some of the stuff that they do in the moments that they have, and I'm like, shit isn't working for me. But it doesn't mean it's not good. So I guess in some sort of land of fucking bizarro, when I'm looking at this Diane and Jack story and sexual assault and stuff like that, and just how offensive it is to me, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that somebody must be sitting there saying that this is good. And maybe it's just not my cup of tea. I have to say that soaps are rare, tone deaf with certain topics. I mean, they are. And then sometimes I sit there and think like they are, but then sometimes I'm just like, they don't handle a lot of stuff well. And I here's the thing, I get that their first and foremost job is to be entertaining, right? That's why I thought, and I was surprised to see a notification from Beyond the Gates review. Yeah, yeah. Um, at the end of the day, I still watch the show. I still have opinions about it, and I'm like, you know what? I might as well sit there and share. You know, because sometimes I just want to sit there and talk about something and get my opinions out there, even if I don't necessarily, what Beyond the Gates is not exactly my favorite. But there are certain things in there that I want to sit there and talk about, and don't always want to wait until Wednesday and Friday to sit there and talk about. I thought you'd start watching. Nah, Jay Blue, I still watch it. I watch all the soaps. At the end of the day, it's content. It's stuff that people want to sit there and talk about. And there are fans that like Beyond the Gates. So I want to sit there and be in the know and talk about what they're talking about, or be in the know what they're talking about, you know. Plus, I mean, when you say that they're tone deaf, they're tone deaf about a lot of things, right? Like they're tone deaf about disabilities, right? Curtis, he was in the wheelchair, but for some odd reason, they don't want to sit there and show people being in wheelchairs, or they don't think that like they're not cool enough to sit there and be on a soap opera. So Miracle Cure, here we come, and now he's able to walk again. Kayla on Days of Our Lives was deaf and had to sit there and learn sign language. But we're not going to sit there and bother to show somebody who is deaf because we don't think that they look cool enough to be on on TV. So boom, now she can sit there and hear again. Do you think Xander and Philip might make the right call by accepting Gabby's proposal? They don't really have a choice, like they don't have a choice. It's one of those things where it's like they kind of got to do it. They're at a sinking ship. Yeah, yeah. They don't do it well. They rarely do it, and you know, and that's and granted, that's a tricky thing to do, but I think they should still do it. They should still sit there and have same sex couples on TV. It happens too often, and it sends a message, and it's not a good one. Not a good one. Really not. Um, but I think most people are able. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I think most people are able to turn a blind eye as long as it's entertaining. Right? As long as it's entertaining, they would either turn a blind eye or be like, "All right, it is what it is." Jonathan, my thing again is that Philip is coming at Gabby sideways. And Philip, you're the one that agreed to put out, agreed to sit there and go with this forged letter. Yeah, Gabby betrayed you, but she wouldn't have had anything if you didn't sit there and decide to act like an entitled jackass and felt like you deserved this and you deserved that. But yet you want to sit there and come at Gabby with, oh, you betrayed me, you exposed my forged letter. Well, you shouldn't have sat there and agreed with Vivian to do that shit. How are you doing? When you made an appearance, I wonder if he and Terry were. Oh, you're a yes. Yeah. The sad thing is, Jay Bloom, I feel like when it comes to us, the LGBT, listen, they got Lucas, so apparently they got it covered, right? Terry who? Yeah, exactly. Look at Terry. Let's see something. General Hospital, Terry. Oh my God, seriously? I mean, oh, Cassandra James. Yeah, no, it was acting slow. But what's really crazy though? And here's something else, right? So they feel like they got they represented the LGBT. No, no, that's not what you did. Let me tell you what you did. It was easier. Let's be very clear. It was easier to put Lucas on, even though that he's gay, than put Terry on because Terry is transgender. And I think they just was like, well, it's easier for the public to sit there and accept Lucas than to accept Terry. Terry's the fucking chief of staff. And how long has it been since we saw her? Yeah, exactly. Let's not sit there and try to play that game like we're fucking stupid. Okay, I mean, granted, that's just my take of the one that was on Netflix. There's a new one. No, that's what it comes down to. We're not. No, no, we're not gonna play that. That's their workaround. Just like, well, honestly, tell you the truth, it's Pride Month. The gaslighting us for, yeah, like they used to, on Young and the Restless, they have Mariah and I'm surprised they don't have Mariah and what's her other name, Mariah, and who's the other chick? Like right now on Born the Beautiful, oh they got Deke and they got who's that other guy named Deacon Remy. Oh, Tessa. They used to do that. They used to sit there and like I just know right now like Deke and Remy. Yeah, Deke and Remy are on now because it's Pride Month. Yeah, guess what happens after Pride Month is done? No, yeah, well they pick and choose. Days of Our Lives is on top. Days of Our Lives is one of the, is probably the most progressive show, progressive soap opera compared to all five. Okay? So I will always give them their credit. chronically to go back in the closet. I mean, it's the 17th, and yeah, I'm thinking about it like it's the 17th, and you still don't have Mariah and Tessa. Thank you, Jonathan. Mariah and Tessa. You still don't have Mariah and Tessa. Yeah, I'll be honest. That was kind of due to bad decisions and stories that they put out on days. Um, I don't think that really has anything to do with the fact of the LGBT and their representation. It's just very, 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 very shitty choices that they have made. Chat, let's everyone sit there and wish Jay Blue a happy birthday. No, I get you, G fan. But no, let's everyone wish Jay Blue a happy birthday today. Should have got another one. Yes, have a good night, Allison. Half birthday. What do you mean half? Is my half birthday? I don't know if we celebrate half birthdays. Okay, we in my chat we celebrate whole birthdays. So, but yes, have a good night, Allison. Yeah, it was like we don't celebrate half birthdays. No, no, no. This is your actual birthday. What is a half birthday? That's no. I work with kids and those that have summer birthdays get to celebrate early. Oh, okay. She's a decent character. She's a decent character. Um, I never really. There's been times I disliked her earlier on when I used to sit there and watch it. She used to always do this whole feminist sort of shit that I was not a huge fan of. My birthday is the near. My birthday is the near the holidays in 6 months. My birthday is the near the holidays in six. You remind me. No, I don't understand that. My birthday is the near the holidays in 6 months. Okay. Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, okay, happy half birthday. You just need to do more than shake things up. Like, hmm, I didn't like when Sam was dying and Patrick and Epiphany and other people saved her life and Alexis got all of them arrested. Like, yeah, she dropped the charges, but the fact that, Patrick and them saved Sam's life and she got them arrested wasn't cool. They need to do more than shake things up with with some of this stuff. And don't get me wrong, Jonathan, I'm not sitting there saying all of it is bad, but like the teen shit, I don't care about. Leo Stark, I don't care about. Um, this whole Julie and Forster thing is kind of weird. I'm gonna be honest. Um, if you bring back Lexi just to sit there and kill her off and be like, "What the fuck are we doing?" The Amy Choi stuff is fine. Holly is fine. You know, I'm still counting down the days for Chanel and Johnny to go. This is another one of those situations where Johnny as the male is constantly, constantly being emasculated. And all he is subservient to Chanel and just a damn yes man. Yes man. And I think that's another reason why I always really did not like Johnny and Chanel. You know? This turned into one big fat yes man. Kristen and Xander hooking up, and now Gwen is all like, "Oh my god, you're cheating on me. I can't believe you're doing that." Girl, what the fuck are you talking about? He told you from jump that you want to sit there and start changing rules around. No, girl, go seek some goddamn therapy. I get it, you have daddy issues, but you don't get to sit there and take that shit out on Xander. And also, Gwen's revenge is to buy the hospital from EJ. I'm sorry, EJ, aren't you still rich? I feel like him owning the hospital is a giant headache, and all Gwen is doing is taking it off your hands. Oh no, I gotta sit there and get my revenge. Like what? Like what am I watching? Like Broski, she's doing you a favor. Like little things like that that starts to add up after a while. It's like, what could we do? Those are the things that really need to you know. And also, like I said, Chad is just not working. He's and to me that's on me because I watched him in Restless. I've always seen him as Chance, and him coming on there is just him being fucking Chance. I I don't know if he needs to be so self righteous with her, but at the same time, I do understand that. Never mind. You don't. You know what? I'm not gonna. I'm not even gonna go there. Sure. But I understand why. I understand. I think Devon today, like even though I like Devon was just being like fucking extra with him. Like, oh, you think the one good thing that you did erases all the bad stuff that you did? No, bro, that's not what he's saying. He's like, oh, you're responsible for those two men being dead. No, no, he's not. Okay, that assistant did that on his own with whatever his name was. I can't even remember now. Like, you're not gonna sit there and blame those two deaths on Kane. That was not Kane's response. That was not Kane's fault. I'm not mad, Ron. That would require me actually caring. That would require me actually caring, which I don't. Um, but Days of Our Lives and their infinite wisdom decides they need more Aaron Green on the show. They need more of a cringe fest on the show. Like crackheaded things that things that they do like that is just like this is why it's very, sometimes I can sit there and sell Days of Our Lives, but oh, I get that, Jason. That's why I was like, that's why I kind of had to sit there and stop myself. That's why I had to sit there and stop myself. Besides, I know how you are with the whole Michael thing, so whenever you do that, that's when I'm kind of just like, I'm just gonna let you rant, you know. I mean, it's your opinion, So, like I said, it's just things that they do on their own days that's just not working for me. And again, also like, why is Kristen hooking up with Xander? Like, are they just? I mean, one of these like, I feel like they literally are just too cheap to sit there and just hire somebody else. Devon and Daniel, I think they are superior to everyone. Daniel, the man who doesn't have a job. There's things I like about Devon. I like the fact that Devon will sit there and stand his ground, even when it comes towards the great Victor Newman. But like this level of high and mighty attitude with him sometimes don't work, and it starts to get fucking insufferable. And I don't like saying that because I like Devon, but like the whole Kane thing and telling Lily, oh, you shouldn't trust him, and the kids don't trust him. Look what he wound up doing to the kids and everything like that. I'm like, look what Lily wound up doing to Kane, using the kids as a weapon against their father. Oh no, I gotta still sit there and have a hard on and keep going at what you call it, like. And Daniel, listen, there is tons of reasons why I don't like Phyllis. Right? Phyllis is Smith is still in the company and everything like that. Daniel, what have you done today? Like, what have you done with your day today since you woken up? Right? Did you um did you try to get a job? Are you just living off of daddy's money? Like, you constantly sit there and come at Phyllis and judge her for this, that, and the third. But you ain't doing shit with your life, though, bro. Like, in his whole 6 months, name one accomplishment that Daniel has done. Like, in all reality, I feel like he's just there to sit there and try to, you know, do stuff with Phyllis. Because his character is pointless. His character is absolutely fucking pointless. And this whole romance that he's not there having with Tessa, while Tessa is still married to a woman, which, listen, whatever. But like, you know damn well that there's a good possibility of them getting back together. So what the fuck are you doing? What's good, Crystal? Yeah, because giving giving a gun to a woman that suffers from PTSD, who has been held captive, was ever a good idea, ever. And now she's like, hey, listen, I don't want my daughter around Stephanie. Hell, she was already uncomfortable, and I'm pretty sure would probably make the baby uncomfortable because babies and stuff like that, they can pick up on that type of tension. And like she said before, she didn't sign up for her being with a man that has a child. I'm also just like, well, Alex didn't sit there and sign up to be with a broken woman, but here we are. And I know that sounds harsh, but hell, I'm playing by her rules at this point. When he says, does Jack really have info on Drew, or is he just saying that so Willow doesn't drug him? And Nina's so dumb, Willow even admitted she manipulated the Tracy situation. And Jack gave her props for that too. Jack gave her props. Listen, I gave her props too. But yeah, what's good, Krista? I gave her props too. Yeah, if this was me like I don't know 7 years ago, I would have been super excited. You know, now I'm kind of just like, eh, yep, Ron, I agree with you. Now I'm just like, eh, you know, I don't know. Sonny and Jason, like I said, I used to love their characters back in the day. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, y'all really like y'all really are the definition of just overstayed your welcomes. Like your coolness points expired years ago. Years ago. Like Sitwell coming in was a breath of fresh air, if I'm gonna be honest. Anna coming back, okay, fine, whatever, that's cool. Uh, it's whatever. She been on the show for a long. How long has Anna actually been on? How long has Anna Devane been on General Hospital? Oh my God, 41 years. How long has Anna Devane been on All My Children? Okay, 2 years. Just 2 years. On one hand, hey, listen, he could have de-escalated the situation. He didn't necessarily have to arrest Tracy. Okay, he didn't even like they said, and Alicia said he didn't sit there and see what wound up happening, right? But if Willow sat there and say, "Hey, listen, she pushed me," okay, cool. Maybe another officer would have sat there and arrested her. So I don't think it's I don't think it was this cardinal fucking sin to sit there and arrest Tracy. You know, and Tracy again acting. One second, Ron. Acting like any acting like a old entitled white woman and being like, "Oh well, you're not gonna sit there and take me now, bro. Nah, you're not above the law. Take your ass down to the station. Brag about your goddamn lawyers like usual, but you're not above the damn law. But you got to sit there and wonder, um, did Chase do it for the right reasons, or did he do it because that's what Willow wanted? So it's a back and forth sort of thing. I'm not completely on Chase's side, but you know, oh, I don't know, Ron. I mean, if you don't want to watch Born and Beautiful, you don't have to. I'm not here to sit there and say you're Born and Beautiful. Like that's on you, man. Now you're trying to make this whole like thing out of it, but I'm not here to be a Born and Beautiful spokesperson. But yeah, that's just my take on it, though. I have seen some people sit there and say that Chase is a cheater. And he's cheating on Brooklyn, and I'm like, that's not the case. I think that Chase is dumb and he's gullible. Falling for Willow and her BS. Chase does have this hero complex. You know, it's it's predictable for Michael, and I can totally see that. So, I get that, and I do think that Brooklyn is kind of lowering herself to sit there and stay with Chase and the family. She is making herself small. This is something that in relationships some women will do. Yeah, he's well, we can agree to disagree about that, Chase man. He's naive. He's naive. He's not being naive on purpose. You know, I don't necessarily agree with like, hey, listen, if Tracy actually did something that warrant being arrested, then fuck it, yeah, do your goddamn job. You know? Are you having dinner right now? Sorry. But I personally haven't seen him do anything, in my opinion, to be disrespectful. In my opinion, you're gonna disagree, Jade fan, but in my opinion, I don't think that it's you know he's done anything. No, you are. No, you are. Oh yeah, I'm having my surprisingly warm soup stuff. It's really interesting. I haven't seen Marlena get too comfortable around Roman. You know, I haven't seen it. I really do think that Kate is being insecure, and at the very least, hey, listen, talk about it. Stop sniffing giving Marlena dirty looks like you're in high school. You're a grown ass woman. Talk to your husband about it. How about do that? What can she do to stop Marlena? Then fucking talk to Roman like an adult. Like seriously, whatever happened to sit there and just having adult conversations? Hey, you know what? Listen, I don't like you. I feel like you're getting a little bit too close to Marlena. We gotta talk about this shit. 'Cause I'm feeling some sort of way. You know? Yeah, at that age where like they too old. She's too old to be doing this shit. Like she's too old to be doing that. Like the sad thing is that Descendant is just another character that's like I don't really feel much for Jacinda. Like I don't dislike Jacinda. I just feel like well she gotta sit there and fill a void in Michael's life as far as, being somebody to be with and have sex with and everything like that. But like I don't do the whole couples thing, so I don't personally care. But I feel like she's just kinda there. Like, okay, cool, we gotta sit there and give Michael a girlfriend, so we'll give her, give her her. That's wrong. I remember saying that. What does that mean? Yeah, it's like, all right, we just gotta give her, we gotta give him somebody pretty and you know that's easy to talk to and doesn't judge him because she got her own past and everything. Like I feel like they could have just gave Michael a much better female companion, somebody that really had her own shit, her own struggles or whatever, and they got together naturally, as opposed to them hanging out at a bar and she didn't have any money and Michael being the good guy that he is decides to sit there and buy her drink. Like this does not this doesn't scream like, oh wow, like she really is a character on her own. Like when Sam came on, Sam had her own shit. She had her own struggles. She was taking care of her brother who, had his own mental problems and stuff like that. When she got with Jason, you know what I'm saying? Like they used to actually build characters. Like no, no, I would not want Sasha to return. She can stay gone, stay gone, please. For the love of God, have that woman stay gone. Okay? Because they ruined the character for me. You know, when she came out her mouth and said, "I have every right to judge you," girl, you have done too much shit to be judging anybody. They just need to make a new character. Somebody with some substance. Jacinda's nice, but like I don't feel like Jacinda is like staying power nice. You know? I really don't. Oh my god, Nina's her boss and Nina is making me, look up trends and stuff for the next fashion fall. I was like, that kind of seems like up your alley. You know? Like she kind of seems like she's more influencer than like, actual character. Somebody with some substance. Oh, even when Sasha came in, Sasha had some substance. She came in with a backstory of being a con artist and stuff like that, and worming her way into Nina's life. Okay, yeah, Jacinda, she was an escort and everything, cool, but okay, like that's it. I don't know. She probably won't. She'll probably sit there and want to get discovered. Ari's gonna be mad at her, but she also should sit there and be mad at Liam for choosing the money over choosing. And the sad thing is, like, she's gonna be upset with Liam. But then, Liam doesn't really make that much money. He has a child. I'm pretty sure she's gonna find a way to sit there and move on and be together, whatever. I mean, yeah, she's not exactly nice. I would sit there and say that, but like, this isn't like the Devil's Wear Prada or anything like that. Like, she's not this horrible, oh my god, awful boss or whatever. Yeah, she could probably take it down a couple of notches, but oh my god, she's not like the fucking worst. Like, yes, have a good night, Monique. I'll sit there and see you in the next stream, which is Friday. Sam had a ghost storyline for a while. Don't know what happened over the years. They got lazy. There was probably a lot of background drama that was going on between old Frankie Pooh and Kelly that didn't help. No, Ron, I'm not. I'm not disappointed about that. I'm disappointed in a lot of things are being made. That ain't one of them. Well, to be fair, I wouldn't sit there and say a lot. I don't know. Like I said, they used to actually have characters that had substance, and now it's like, just give him a pretty chick or whatever. And, I almost feel bad for the actress because she seems like a nice person, and she can sing and have other talents and stuff. And it's nice that they're taking advantage of that. But like, I don't know. And maybe part of it does have a bit of a jaded look. The member circle, which I should be joining. Yeah, we get to look at a lot of old school stories and old school characters and women that actually have substance, gusto. Then you have people like Jacinda that's just like there. You have people like Electra that's not there telling a woman who has been on the streets to get lost because this is my world. What the, like, what? I mean, I don't want to sit there and sound like one of those boomers that's like, well, back in my day, the soaps used to sit there and be so much better. But like, you look at a character, seriously, Terry, you look at a character like Descendant, and it's like she could be replaced by somebody else. Honestly, to tell you the truth, if the actress was sick for a week and they found like a temporary actress, would it really matter that much? And this is no offense to the actress or anything like that. Would you really be sitting there saying, I just can't get into this character? She's not like, she's not giving me those vibes like the other character did. No, because Michael just needs somebody pretty to sit there and be on his own. This is where we are. I am totally sounding like one of those fucking boomers. But seriously, Terry, like that's true. But like, I am also sounding like one of those boomers. Like back in my day, I seriously pray to God that I never sit there and act like that. With the whole, you know, this. All right, it is actually getting late, and I do have to wake up at damn near 4:30. We'll sit there and say, which is really 4:45. Um, but I'll be back on Friday. We'll have a fun time, as always. This was fun. But yeah, I do want to thank everyone for joining. Have a good night, Cherry Ice Cream. Have a good night, Tracy. Have a good night, Monique. Have a good night, GH Fan. Have a good night. Yes, have a good night, GH Fan. Have a good night, Susan. Have a good night, Dolomedics. Have a good night, Jonathan. Jonathan, thank you again. You are the GOAT. And like I said, we'll be starting our clip show early at 8:30 instead of 9 o'clock for reasons. Um, yes, thank you, Jonathan. You're fucking awesome. Johnson says, join us next time for another edition of Silk Chat without the plastic. Yes, thank you, Cherry. It's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you, Queen of the South. Thank you, Amy, Blackmon. I really do. Ronnie Ron. Yes, Sunday's gonna be fun. I get to visit my favorite town again, and I know it sounds cheesy, but it really warms my heart. Like it does. It does. It really does. Johnson says, "Good night, everyone. Hit the like button." Yes. Oh, right. Kyrie's is actually streaming tonight. Okay, I gotta sit there and pop up in there. Um, while making my famous Franks and beans. And he didn't even tell me he was streaming tonight. Oh, I gotta sit there and get on him for that. So yeah, head over to Kyrie's stream. Um, support him. Hit the like button when you get there. And you know what? I'm gonna do one even better. Why do you gotta make shit so goddamn? Have a night, Darby. Here we go. Big Nate was good. Damn, I feel so bad 'cause, like now I'm in the stream. Um, there you go. That's seriously. Okay. No, that's not what I. Okay, well that's his link. So definitely check out Kyrie's Clark. Make sure you just go in there and just hit the like button. Because for some odd reason it wants to be stupid right now. Okay. Yeah, there we go. They have, yes, I saw that, Jonathan, on I think it's called the Soapy channel or something like that, which is definitely interesting. I was, bro, you know what I'm sitting there thinking. You know what I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, I don't know, cause like I don't know how they got the episode, and yes, Liquid Soap, yeah. I don't know how they got the episode, so like if I sat there and screen recorded it, I don't know if they could sit there and like hit my channel with a copyright. Like if they bought the episode, then they kind of bought the rights to it, so it's a whole thing. Um, yeah. Anyway, check out Kyrie's. I'm gonna be up in there the minute that I end this stream, and told me that he was streaming. I would have probably popped up in there a little bit sooner. I gotta sit there and kind of troll him for that. All right, everyone. Readers.